And a welcome to the UFC, to the lone representative of the Republic of Ireland on this weekend's card. Coming up, it is the Invicta star, the undefeated Mama B, Shauna Bannon, training out of one of Matt's favorite Irish MMA gyms. It's not SBG Ireland, Holohan Martial Arts.
It's really like the fit NHB of Ireland, isn't it?
It really is. But Paddy bringing it to the big stage once more. And for Shauna Bannon taking this UFC debut against Dana White's Contender Series 2022's own Bruna Brasil. Bruna Brasil, former soccer player. In her debut, didn't make out all that well against D. Gomes. Turns out D. Gomes has cinder blocks.
She's a pretty good fighter, it turns out.
In her hands. But if you look at a matchup like this, Matt, I mean, the things that jump off the page about both these two fighters. Bruna Brasil, southpaw, tricky sidewinder, chopper-type hand. She keeps them really low.
Like The Undertaker in 2002. He's rolling.
I don't think he walked out to Limp Bizkit.
He did. Actually, The Undertaker at WrestleMania walked out to Limp Bizkit live.
That's hard.
It is pretty hard.
For Bruna Brasil, though, really low hands. And we touched on that in her debut against D. Gomes, only for her to absorb a big right hand. She falls down like a sack of potatoes.
And it changed the whole fight, didn't it?
Yeah, and that was the beginning of the end for Brasil. And if you saw her fight against Marc McMahon on Contender Series or any of her regional tape, it was a lot of head kicks. That's how she was able to win that fight. It was a lot of body work. She's a fighter who really accentuates her striking, but also has good jiu-jitsu. Out of the fighting nerds is Bruna Brasil, gym headlined by Caio Borralho. So a lot of really good skills. It's just mixing the martial arts for her. Whereas for Shauna Bannon, boy, was it ever an interesting time going back and watching the tape. And it's very easy to find, whether it's Cage Legacy over on YouTube, whether it's Invicta as well. For Shauna Bannon, her last time out, took on the former two-time atomweight Invicta title challenger, the old stink bomb, Mina Grusander. And in that one, Shauna Bannon, whether it was with her submissions, with her striking, really piecing all of her game together. And again, doing the research, she did an interview with the Craig. Did I pronounce it the right way? The way those Irish folks say it? With Pete Carroll. And she said, and I quote, "I've had 5 very good fights. I've kind of went through every avenue in each of my fights in my professional career. Grappling, wrestling, striking. I've overcome adversity in all of them, and I believe now I'm ready to get in the UFC." Man, has she ever. And she really does mix it all together. Shauna Bannon, though, the biggest thing that jumps off the page for her, 5-time WAKO world champ in kickboxing. And that's where the bread gets buttered when Bannon is striking from southpaw. It's the body kick. It's the kick to the head and the leg kick from orthodox. She likes to throw the front, like the push kick, but she'll also kind of go power stance like a guitar player and then throw her punches. If I could have any comp for Shauna Bannon, who has good triangles, good things off her back when she's on the ground, really good top pressure too, she fights just like Michelle Waterson-Gomez.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good comp, honestly. The lightness on their feet is very representative in both their styles because Bannon's not someone who's going to really sit down and crack you with a lot of those shots. Yes, they are good strikes. The body kick is something that was open a lot in that Grusander fight, but she's not going to hit you to the body like what's the best body kick I can think of? Like Luke Rockhold, for instance, right? Remember Luke Rockhold kicked Costa Philippou, one of the great Michael Bisping lines? But still, Bannon does have all of those skills, and she really is able to demonstrate it in a lot of these matchups. My curiosity comes down to, is she going to have enough power on the feet to really get Brasil's respect? Because if she is at kicking range, which probably isn't the greatest idea in this matchup, because I do think Bannon has more to offer than just those kicks at distance. From southpaw, and you bring it up too, she's just very a left leg heavy kicker. She does like the front kick from the orthodox position, a power kind of roundhouse kick to the body and to the head from the southpaw position. But for Bannon, I'm going to be curious to see if the pressure can start to eliminate some of the kicks up Brasil, and if she's going to have confidence in her own kicking game. Because the one thing I'll say about that Grusander fight that I didn't enjoy, the commentary could call out exactly what was going to happen before it would happen against Grusander. They'd be like, Mina's got her hands really high. I wonder if she's going to kick to the body. And Bannon would just immediately kick to the body. That was not a good version of Mina Grusander. That's just all I'm going to say. She's lost the last 4 fights. I'm not going to say that there's some great hidden away version of her. All I'm saying is, Bannon, I think, looked maybe a little bit better than she might in the UFC in her debut in that match.
And again, for her to say to Pete Carroll, listen, I've overcome adversity in my fights, I've utilized all my skill sets, that was on great effect when she fought Nadia Vieira over with Invicta, and it was a lot of the takedowns. Vieira was in a dominant position, but again, like, Bannon from her back, she'll get that leg up there, she'll grab it, and then she's going for triangle. She's really trying to go for some crazy stuff. So, if you do look at Bannon, the champ over the Cage Legacy, the rematches that she was able to have, or the 2 fights out there, similar opponent, but against a 1-2 fighter, and it did look like a big skill gap in those fights. For Bruna Brasil, one of the things that we kind of said coming into the debut was the takedown defense isn't the greatest. It'll set up a little bit of her jiu-jitsu, but it is a little bit troubling out there. Again, when she is throwing those kicks, when she is pressuring forward, Brasil has a lot of success, but she can look to time a lot of the counters when she's on the back foot, and if it doesn't happen, she backs up with her head straight up. There's no pullback on the counter, and then all of a sudden it's middle of the cage, behind the black line, up against the cage, and she can really struggle getting held in some of those positions.
Exactly, and that's why for Brasil it is an interesting case study, because at the things she does well, she is really good at them, but if she's fighting a fighter who does have that threat of wrestling, and even for D. Gomes, like, Gomes is sort of a smaller fighter in stature, right? She's going to throw those big hooks. She was able to close that distance and really eliminate a lot of the offense of Brasil, and once she was able to land on her offensively, Brasil just didn't really have that second and third note to her game, so I'll be really interested to see if Brasil isn't having that success on the feet. Her jiu-jitsu is good, but I will be curious to see just the grappling level of both these ladies. See if we will get ultimately a submission win, because I do think grappling is going to be an essential part of this fight. I don't think we're just going to get 50 minutes of strict kickboxing, even though their styles might suggest that that's what we're going to get.
I mean, Brazil, former Brazilian and South American kickboxing champ to go along with that. So if you do have a look at the odds in the matchup, Brazil is favored in this one. A little bit less than she was against D. Gomes. And don't forget, she was favored to beat D. Gomes going into that fight. We both had.
Gotta watch out for D. Gomes, I tell you.
Bruna Brasil to win that fight. Matt, we have a look at the Tapology votes. Surprise to us there, or to you. I'm going to say over under 65% Bruna Brasil.
I think they'll be under, but she'll be the favorite.
They are the opposite. 710 total votes, 65% Bannon, 85% by decision for the 35% that have Bruna Brasil, 78% by decision. Matt, that doesn't surprise me at all. These two women against each other, I think it would go to a decision.
So do I, and that's why I have Bannon in the matchup. I feel like a lot of today, I was going to go with Brasil, but the more I thought about it, the fact that Bannon does throw A, the body kick, I think that is going to be open for her, and B, will throw boxing combinations after. I do think that's going to be very key, because if she stands at distance, that's Bruna Brasil's world, but if she can start to close that distance, you bring it up, the hands of Brasil are quite low, and I do think Bannon's going to be able to land some of her own offensive strikes to really get the respect of Brasil as this fight continues.
I think Bannon's going to get the win as well. I don't necessarily love it because Bannon's striking defense to me isn't the greatest out there in the world. I mean, again, she has a great lineage in kickboxing. They both do. But for Bannon, it's the well-roundedness that I like in a matchup like this. So both of us going with, it's not Dolly Parton in the picture, Ireland's own Shauna Bannon to get the win. You let us know who you have down below in the comments section. Next fight on the docket. It's the return of the Mac. Yanal Ashmouz taking on Chris Duncan. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.